Chip are an indie electronic pop-ish band from London, England. They were formed by two schoolmates as a bedroom recording project in 2000 and expanded into a larger band. Their first album, which was an independent release, was in 2004. Their first major label release album was in 2006, and they've had six more since then, including the most recent one in 2022. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the third album by Hot Chip, and it's my first. But I have heard some Hot Chip stuff before. In fact, I've reviewed at least one album on this channel before for Hot Chip. I would describe this as being alternative dance with some tracks that are not alternative dance. So the tracks that are, I would describe them as Electic Electronica, if I can get my mouth around that. So that it sounds like electronica. It's got quite a lot of synthetic type noises to it, and it's dancey and it's got some grooves. But there's unusual noises being used and some unusual grooves and rhythms. It's a nice feel. The kind of overall feel makes me feel like they're rootling around in a junkyard and they're finding bits of interesting things that are made of metal and they're not quite sure what it is, but they're going to get it and use it anyway. It's that kind of picking of curious stuff that that gives it its feel. The Probably the most mainstream sounding track is the one called "Ready for the Floor," which was a single. And overall, they've got a kind of attitude that reminded me of the Pet Shop Boys somehow. It's not the same sound, although it's still down kind of um, the amount of sassiness to it. So there's a few slower tracks, still mostly using electronic sounds, but some more acoustic instruments. And I think there was about 4 or 5 of them, and I found those tracks less interesting. So I'll pick out a couple of those. So "Made in the Dark" sounds a bit like it's more electronic, kind of slower, and it feels just like one step up from something recorded in a high school person's bedroom. It's like early efforts in recording. So it felt a bit awkward listening. "Whistle for Will" is a kind of lo-fi slow with a piano thing. Again, I didn't think it was great. I I generally thought that for a band that are known for dance, and I think this actually applies across the board. If you are a band that are known for your upbeat, your heavy, or your dance, or something like that, you need to be really sure of what you're doing if you're going to go against that. And that's what they're doing here with the slower and mellow stuff. And I actually think that slow music is harder to pull off well than fast music or music with a really strong beat. Um, there's one other track on here which doesn't fit into either of those categories, which is the track "Wrestlers," which I felt was a parody of R&B. I believe it was an attempt to do an R&B song of a particular kind. And when I say R&B, I mean more modern R&B, um, which is kind of typified by quite a slow rhythm, which is kind of got a bass drum, and then it's got a kind of a fan clap sound. It's a synthetic sound in this case. So, and obviously more music than that. And so this track I actually thought was as kind of not quite proper R&B was better than a lot of R&B that I've heard. I would prefer to listen to this than um, Justin Timberlake, who I reviewed recently. But I didn't think it was properly managing to do R&B if that's what they were trying to do. I think maybe they were too rooted in better stuff than that, in my mind. So it really means if you're really into R&B, you might think it's rubbish or not as good. So interesting sounds in the main. I have to say, with the dancey stuff, I was more impressed with them than I have been with them previously. But I think they really should ditch the slow songs. I don't think that they work, or they need to work at making them better. Yes. So that's what I think of this album. Mixed feelings, and I wonder what you think about this album. Actually, it'd be nice if you would tell me. And the way to tell me is by leaving a comment. So please do that. And that's it from me for now.
It's me versus you and love. 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 We'll tag team, double up, hit you in the sweet spot and make you wish you'd puff up. The gloves are off.